to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there won't be anything, it'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
Weird. It's so weird. It really is like the whole country's hypnotized. And I just think this is a perfect storm of things that are happening.
All right. Hold on tight, folks. We're about to jump into some intense drama coming straight out of Dalton, Illinois, where Mayor Tiffany Henyard is smack dab in the middle of a political storm that seems to get messier by the minute. If you thought local politics couldn't possibly match the drama of reality TV, think again. This situation is packed with more twists, turns, and shocking revelations than anyone could have imagined. And wait for it. None other than Joe Rogan himself has gotten involved, taking what began as a small-town scandal and turning it into a national discussion. Let's break this all down and figure out what's really going on here. So, Dalton's mayor, Tiffany Henyard, is now suing several village trustees following a meeting earlier this week, adding yet another dramatic chapter to her already controversial leadership saga. For those who might not be familiar, Henyard made history in 2021 when she became the first-ever female mayor of Dalton, marking a significant milestone in local politics. But instead of steering the town into calm waters, she's found herself in the midst of one controversy after another, sparking major questions about her leadership style. And we're not talking about your average political dispute here. No, Tiffany Henyard is facing some pretty heavy accusations, much more than the typical back and forth you'd expect in the political arena. Allegations have surfaced that Henyard has used intimidation tactics, even threatening local residents, and has enlisted one of the most controversial lawyers in the nation to back her up. Honestly, it sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood thriller, rather than the leadership of a small-town mayor. It all started gaining attention when reports began circulating that Henyard wasn't exactly winning any popularity contests with some of Dalton's residents. It's one thing to have a difference of opinion, but things took a darker turn when people started claiming that Henyard was threatening them. Yes, you heard that correctly. Residents allege that she told them there would be consequences if they dared to speak out against her. Now, that's a serious red flag, folks, especially when the person involved is a public official who's supposed to represent and engage with the community. Instead of fostering a healthy dialogue or collaborating with her constituents to address their concerns, it looks like Henyard might be attempting to intimidate people into silence. This behavior from an elected leader is deeply troubling on many levels, especially in a small community where cooperation and trust should be the foundation of how things run. As the drama continues to unfold, residents of Dalton are left questioning how their mayor, once celebrated as a trailblazer, ended up in such a chaotic and controversial mess. With legal battles heating up, this story is far from over.
2 meetings in different locations. It was a little confusing for some residents, but the meeting here at Village Hall canceled after a few minutes because
the threats, however, didn't end with just words. Now, residents are coming forward, reporting an even more troubling escalation in the pressure they've been under. Some claim they've been subjected to increased attention from local authorities, attention that's definitely not the kind that you'd want. Picture this. 1 minute, you're simply expressing your concerns about how the town is being managed, and the next, you find yourself under intense scrutiny. Could it be a coincidence? It's tough to say, but the timing of these events is certainly raising a lot of alarms, and the public's suspicions are growing stronger every day. What started as a local issue has quickly spiraled into something far darker, sparking widespread outrage throughout Dalton. The community is demanding answers, and they want to know if their mayor, Tiffany Henyard, has crossed a line that no public official should ever cross. As the situation becomes more complicated by the hour, the pressure is mounting, and just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, an anonymous private investigator, allegedly with insider knowledge from the United States District Court in Illinois, stepped in, adding fuel to the already blazing fire. This individual claims that even deeper, more sinister issues are festering within the local government. The allegations are escalating, and the drama seems to have no end in sight. And just when you think it couldn't get any more intense, in comes Joe Rogan. Yes, the very same Joe Rogan, the podcaster and media giant with millions of followers, who has the power to turn a local issue into a national conversation. When Rogan speaks, people listen, and this time, he didn't pull any punches. Rogan went public, calling out Mayor Henyard for what he described as a complete abuse of power, accusing her of allegedly threatening her own residents. His words carried far and wide, reaching a huge audience and further elevating the already intense scrutiny surrounding Henyard's actions. It's not every day that a small-town mayor ends up at the center of a media storm, led by a figure with such a massive platform. But when someone like Rogan takes aim at a political leader, you can bet that the controversy goes global. His comments, though harsh, amplified the situation, turning what started as a local scandal into a nationwide conversation. The ripple effect was immediate, with people across the country now questioning Henyard's leadership. Since Rogan's involvement, the questions surrounding her actions have only intensified. National media outlets are now picking up the story, and what was once a small-town issue has evolved into a full-blown political firestorm. Dalton is now at the heart of a national debate about the abuse of power and political misconduct, and the pressure on Henyard is mounting. With every passing day, more people are questioning whether she's fit for office, and residents in Dalton are growing more vocal about their dissatisfaction with her leadership. The mayor's approval ratings have plummeted, and with public trust fading fast, Henyard now faces mounting pressure to either step down or face serious political fallout. As the investigation into her alleged abuse of power continues, residents are left wondering, what's next? Will the mayor be able to weather the storm, or will the growing allegations and public backlash finally force her to resign? The future of Dalton's leadership hangs in the balance, and with Rogan's comments raising the stakes even higher, it's impossible to predict how this political drama will unfold. Grappling with the harsh reality of living under a leader whose actions have cast a long shadow over their community. Whether Henyard will be able to regain the trust of her constituents remains uncertain, but one thing is for sure: the road ahead is anything but predictable. The national spotlight has been cast firmly on this political drama, and there's no turning back now. The stakes have never been higher, and the future of Dalton's leadership now hangs in the balance.
Be what's running the thing. We're letting the thing be run by the people that are in power, that are corrupt, that want to keep.
Rogan's criticism wasn't just aimed at Henyard as a politician. It quickly expanded to highlight a much larger issue: the abuse of power, particularly by elected officials who should be held to the highest standards of accountability. His words carried a powerful message that clearly resonated with his massive audience as he underscored the dangers of unchecked authority. Henyard, who likely hoped this controversy would stay within the confines of her small town and eventually fade away, now found herself thrust into the national spotlight, with Rogan amplifying the growing concerns of Dalton's residents. What started as a local dispute quickly spiraled into a full-blown scandal, and Henyard was no longer just dealing with the frustrations of her constituents, but the intense scrutiny of a far wider audience. But let's dig deeper into these allegations, because this isn't just about Rogan's comments. Residents of Dalton are genuinely afraid, and they haven't held back in expressing their fear. Several claim that Henyard's alleged threats were far from mere words. They insist they faced real, tangible consequences for daring to speak out against her leadership. The situation reached new heights when the court declined to hold her in contempt, but still issued a warning that should she fail to comply with certain rulings, the consequences could worsen. This court ruling only intensified the anger and frustration in Dalton, as the community continued to grapple with what they viewed as increasingly aggressive and authoritarian behavior. Even more disturbing, many residents have reported subtle intimidation tactics, with a constant fear of retaliation hanging over their heads. What should be a healthy democratic debate has instead turned into an environment of fear for anyone willing to question Henyard's leadership. This atmosphere of uncertainty has now become the new norm, and what's chilling is that these aren't just vague complaints. People in Dalton are speaking out, saying they now feel like targets. One resident reportedly said, "This woman, she needs to be thrown in jail." That sentiment captures the growing frustration and the palpable tension within the community. People are fed up and tired of feeling like their voices don't matter.
To receive the information today, we have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1993.
This brings us to Henyard's highly controversial decision to hire Brenly as her attorney. Now, if you're not familiar with this guy, let me give you a bit of background. Brenly is far from your average lawyer. He's a name tied to some of the most notorious and scandalous legal cases in recent history. Remember the R. Kelly saga? Well, Brenly was right there representing the disgraced singer's former manager, and that's just the beginning. His track record includes involvement in some seriously shady cases, defending some of the country's most infamous figures. Brenly's faced accusations of witness tampering, bending the rules, and using underhanded tactics to win cases for his high-profile clients. So, when Henyard made the decision to hire him, it raised a lot of eyebrows, to say the least. You can't help but wonder, why him? It's not like there's a shortage of reputable lawyers out there, but Henyard chose the one with a reputation already tainted by controversy. This decision has fueled speculation that Henyard may have a lot more to hide than she's letting on. After all, when you're facing accusations of abusing your power and mistreating your constituents, is hiring a lawyer known for bending the law really the best move? It doesn't add up, and the public is noticing. The reaction from Dalton's residents has been overwhelmingly negative. Many are scratching their heads, trying to figure out what's going on in their town. Some are even questioning Henyard's sanity at this point, saying she used taxpayer money to travel to Vegas and party, while also purchasing a brand new $150,000 Tahoe, all at the taxpayer's expense. These aren't just casual complaints. These are serious allegations that paint a disturbing picture of a leader who seems to have completely lost her way. The situation is only getting worse. With each new revelation, Henyard seems to be digging herself into a deeper hole. In addition to the controversy surrounding her choice of attorney, there are claims that anyone who opposes her faces her wrath. Critics allege that she's willing to use her position to have businesses shut down or even evict those who dare to speak out against her. As if the questionable financial decisions and abuse of power weren't enough, Henyard's previous legal team reportedly quit, citing the financial strain of handling her case. Can you imagine being so deep in controversy that even your own lawyers decide to jump ship? Well, that's exactly what happened, and it's only added more fuel to the fire. Now, with Brenly stepping in, the stakes have never been higher. People are watching closely to see how this all plays out. But let's be honest, things aren't looking good for Henyard. As the allegations continue to pile up, and with her decision to bring in a lawyer with such a murky reputation, the people of Dalton are left wondering if they'll ever see true accountability. The situation is quickly spiraling out of control, and Henyard's leadership appears to be sinking deeper into a pit of scandal and controversy with every passing day.
Alright. I guess anything else? I get sued all the time. Y'all.
Let's talk about Brenly for a minute, because his involvement is a huge part of this whole saga. This is a guy who has been right at the center of some seriously messy legal battles, and his tactics have been called into question more times than anyone can count. There have been claims that he's coached witnesses, tried to manipulate the legal system, and even pocketed money from clients without delivering the services he promised. If this sounds like the kind of lawyer who thrives in scandal, it's because he does. And now, he's representing Tiffany Henyard, which raises some serious eyebrows about what her next move might be. What's even more interesting is the timing of it all. Henyard is already under investigation for financial mismanagement, with reports surfacing that she's been using taxpayer money for personal expenses, lavish trips, expensive purchases, and throwing huge parties, all on the public's dime. It's not a good look, to say the least, and as more details continue to surface, the situation only seems to get worse. Add Brenly into the mix, and it's a recipe for disaster. Henyard made a late appearance at the Dalton Village Board meeting which was being held at the Park District building since the Village Hall couldn't legally accommodate the crowds at a typical meeting. People are wondering, why would she bring in someone like Brindley at a time when she should be focused on clearing her name? Is she banking on his aggressive tactics to help her weather the storm? Or is there something more going on here? Something we haven't even seen yet? Speculation is rampant, and honestly, it's hard to say what her endgame is. But one thing's for sure, Henyard is not going down without a fight. Let's not forget that Henyard has been under constant scrutiny even before this latest controversy. Her time in office has been marked by chaos, with board meetings often turning into shouting matches, allegations of unethical spending, and now this. It seems like every few months, there's a new headline about something going wrong in Dalton, and Henyard is always at the center of it. For someone who came into office with so much promise, she's managed to flip things upside down in record time. Now, with the FBI reportedly getting involved, the situation is about to reach a whole new level. Subpoenas are flying, and there's talk of a federal investigation into Henyard's finances, her political action committee, and even her close associates. You'd think this would be a wake-up call for anyone in her position, but instead, Henyard seems to be doubling down. She's not backing down at all, and is still insisting that she's the victim of a smear campaign orchestrated by her political enemies. It seems like she's just leaning into it, as if there's no course correction in sight. Just more chaos. It's a bold move, no doubt, but is it the right one? That remains to be seen. What's clear is that Henyard's decision to bring in Brindley has only added more fuel to the fire. People are now more suspicious than ever, and the questions just keep piling up. Why would she hire someone with such a controversial history? What does she think Brindley can do for her that no one else can? And perhaps most importantly, what does she have to hide? Today, Henyard was in court over illegal appointments she allegedly made for several positions within the village, some of which are highly controversial. As the scandal continues to unfold, the residents of Dalton are left wondering what comes next. Critics are calling for her